Welcome to the Angry Nerd Podcast. My name is Arshawn Wade, aka the Angry Nerd. The Angry Nerd Podcast is taped in front of a live Facebook audience from my mom's basement. The Angry Nerd Podcast is brought to you in part by some bad life choices and a few shattered dreams. The Angry Nerd Podcast is made possible by money that my wife gives me from my SSI check, some chick named Joni, and proceeds from listeners like you. Now, if you want to be one of the listeners that helps contribute to this channel getting better and better, go to Cash App. Our Cash App is $The Angry Nerd. Now, we got all that out of the way. Tonight, I am going to forego the Hot Topics portion of the show. And we're going to jump right into tonight's topic, which is eloquently titled Requiem for Small Businesses. Now, let's get involved in what that word means, Requiem. Requiem is, the long and the short of it is, it's a death song. It's a death song. And why, Arshawn, are we singing a ode to death? An ode to the death of small businesses. During this whole coronavirus pandemic, I have realized that a number of small businesses, 43% of small businesses have folded. That's 100% our fault. The people in the community where the market goes out of business, where the butcher goes out of business, where the daycare gets shut down. It's our fault. Not going to the mom and pop shops, bunny ears on that. That is how they get shut down, because they don't have our money. Now, tonight's topic came to me from a friend of mine who's also a small business owner. Like myself, I have a part-time side business, t-shirts. Speaking of which, this is one of my custom creations that I'm wearing right now. For those of you who can't read the funky words on Facebook, it says, I am the Half-Blood Prince. Those that know me know that I am a super Harry Potter nerd. So those that know. Them that don't, watch Harry Potter. But I digress. My point is this. Small businesses have suffered. Small businesses have not had an easy way to go altogether. So in lieu of the pandemic, we have seen hundreds and thousands of small businesses across the country fold. And for some strange reason, people from the low-income community feel like rich ice is colder. You know, Walmart hasn't seen a decline in sales. Neither has McDonald's or any of the super businesses that are out there. They are what some people refer to as recession-proof because of the particular service that they provide. But my thing is this. Why is it that people from the low-income communities insist on making millionaires more millions, making billionaires more billions? Why is it that we can't see the value in the people who start businesses right here in our communities? For instance, I have a friend of mine, and I'm going to call him a friend because that wasn't always the case. He's a nightclub owner in a city that I used to live in. And once upon a time, I was a knucklehead. I was that guy that came and effed up the good time for everybody. When I would come in, the DJ would be like, hey man, we don't want no trouble tonight. Because I was that dude. Always, whether it was provoked or not, I was always the reason for the club getting shut down. Yes, bad Sean. But so I saw his progression from like just a dude, you know, like promoting shows and doing birthdays to where he has a really nice establishment now. Like he's literally paid his dues. But people in that city prefer to go out of town or go to a club with a name that I won't say because I don't want somebody trying to sue me for defamation or anything. And I've recognized this because a lot of people from the low income communities don't recognize excellence. And it kind of goes back to that biblical thing. You know, a prophet isn't welcomed in his own land, because who are you to be a business owner? You're just little Johnny from around the block. When did you become a club owner? And I will tell you, as somebody who ran around in the club scene in my 20s, he has a very nice place. But there are people who will not frequent his establishment. Why? Because they still see him as little Johnny from the block. When, if we look at it differently, and it isn't until you start your own business that you start to recognize this. I recognize how difficult it is to get people to patronize your business when they know you as little Johnny from the block. And I think that's wrong. I think that's terrible. I think it's horrible. Because what's going to happen, because my friend is a successfully minded person. My friend is a business minded person. So he's going to succeed. Even though he has all these hurdles and all these obstacles and people don't want to fool with him, he's going to succeed because he has a success mindset. And do you know what's going to happen once he succeeds? And he has nightclubs in Miami, and he has nightclubs in LA, and nightclubs in New York. Then the people from that city that birthed him are going to say, oh, that's my guy. That's my dude. Oh, big up to so-and-so. Don't wait until I have made it to jump on the bandwagon. Jump on the bandwagon right here on the ground level. I know tons of people who are club goers. And if you're a club goer, why not go to this gentleman's club? Why not frequent this man's establishment? Somebody who you have seen build something out of nothing. And that has to do with our poverty-stricken mindset. Because I can't see myself doing big things, and he comes from the same place that I come from. So how dare he have these grandiose ideas? How dare he try to be something greater than the rest of us? And I think that is horrible. I think it's a tragedy. And I think that it needs to be talked about, because so many small businesses fold because we can't get the support of the community. Because so many people in the low-income communities mentally live in a sunken place. So we have to elevate our mental and recognize these great people among us. We love Gucci, right? We love wearing Gucci. Gucci is a status symbol. Do you know that Gucci started out as some little dusty dude in Italy making saddlebags for horse riders? Now he's a world-renowned brand, but he started out in a small village in Italy making saddlebags. Now there are designer clothes all over the globe. Gucci was nobody when he was making saddlebags. Louis Vuitton, we love Louis, right? Put the L's and the V's on it, it's gonna sell. Louis started out making luggage. He started out making square bags. Everybody else made round bags, and he made square bags, and he made them waterproof, and he made it to where you could put more luggage inside the bags. He started off in a little shop in Rome. He was nobody. He came from right there in the village. He became successful because the people codified around his service. They valued his service. And we don't do that enough with each other in the low-income communities. If you know somebody who cuts hair, go do it. Don't wait until they start cutting Jay-Z's hair. Lord knows that brother needs a haircut. Don't wait until they blow up doing what they do to jump on the bandwagon. Quick story. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson, he was Mr. Basketball. Magic Johnson was approached by two people to get an endorsement deal. One was Converse, and one was a no-name startup who we later know as Nike. Nike didn't have any money because they were at the ground level of their establishment at that time. And they said, hey, we can't give you any money, but what we can give you are shares in the company. And Magic Johnson, with his best thinking, he said, look, I don't know nothing about the stock market and shares in your company. Give me the money. Converse got 20 grand for me over here. I'll take the 20 grand. And I have a nagging suspicion that every time Magic Johnson walks past a pair of Nikes, he says, damn. I know he has that experience because he didn't value these people who didn't have a name, these people who weren't big yet. We look at Gucci as a status symbol and we go continue making the Gucci family rich by going to get their stuff. And we have fashion designers right here in our communities and we won't deal with them. We won't buy their clothes. We have Kendrick Lamar's and J. Cole's and Drake's in our community. Now, there are a couple of mofos in our community that need to stop rapping. But we have talent and we have value in the low-income communities, but we don't value it. That's the biggest problem in the low-income communities, is that we don't value one another enough. We will go to Walmart, who's had billions of dollars before we even knew that that was a real number. We will go to Sears. We'll go to all these other places. How often do we go to the farmer's market? Let's go to the farmer's market and spend money in our communities. Let's go somewhere where, what does the song on Cheers say? Where everybody knows your name. Let's do that. How about we try doing that? I'm not going to talk about the plight of small businesses without bringing up the excuses that people use. Oh, well, you go to these small businesses, they prices are high. Well, most small businesses do not have access to these major vendors. So of course they can't afford to buy 10,000 whatever it is to sell you. They can't afford to go buy it direct from China, from the sweatshops, and sell it to you for $4. Unfortunately, a lot of us have to sell it a couple dollars more than market value just to make a buck. But if we perform the tiniest bit of solidarity as people from the low-income communities, I always reference the people from the low-income communities because the Richie Poos, they already have their money. They already have their infrastructure and their gated communities and things like that. But if we take our dollars in the low-income communities, then we can continue to birth Kendrick Lamar's and LeBron James's. Do you know how much better it'll be once we start shopping with each other? Once we start building each other up? Instead of we already go and work for the system, and then we take that money that we work for and we give it back to the millionaires. We give it back to the billionaires. Let's go get their money, because all of us work for some billionaire or millionaire. Let's go get their money, and then let's spread it out amongst the community. Let's only get our hair cut in the community. Let's find our fashion designers in the community. And let me tell you, I will tell you one group of people who do this, and I applaud them for it, is women. Women will get their hair done by each other. I know some of these girls are selling bundles now and people are shopping with them, and kudos to them. And I say to the men, let's learn from their example. I know sometimes Keisha don't always have all the money. She'll pay for half of it in cash, and then she'll pay the other half in EBT. I hope I don't get somebody in trouble with that. But you have to understand that we will continue being wage slaves to the machine if we don't start valuing small businesses. If we don't start taking our clothes to the cleaners over here at Mr. and Mrs. Jones. If we don't start buying our groceries from Sherwood Market. Let's go over here. Let's keep our money in our community, because how much of those millions and billions of dollars that big industry makes year after year, how much of that money do they pour back into our communities? They don't, and it's not their responsibility to. Their responsibility in this wicked capitalist country that we live in, their responsibility is to make as much money as they can with as little overhead as possible. So philanthropy isn't something that those people are very big on. They're just not. They have their charities that usually belongs to their wife that they use as a tax write-off. They don't put that money back into our communities. Who cares about our roads more than we do? Who cares about our lawns more than we do? Who cares about how we're treated in our communities by law enforcement than we do? I'll tell you one thing. A lot of those foreigners, what I have recognized, most big cities you go, there's a little Italy or a little China, little Africa, something like that. And those people spend their money with each other. And do you want to know what that creates? It creates a sub-economy. They have an economy within our economy. Do you know what that means they can do? They can start funding the politicians that they want to get in office to have their interests presented to the folks. Because I don't want to get in trouble with this, but we don't see a whole lot of cops in Little China. We don't see a whole lot of cops in Little Italy, because these are communities that they have forged by shopping with each other, by spending money with each other. And us, we in the low-income communities, we can do the same thing. We can do the same thing. We can learn from some of these foreigners and immigrants, people who came here aware that they were not a part of this greater system. Entrepreneurship is a spirit that is dying out, not because people don't have a desire to be entrepreneurs, but because it's not profitable, because you can't feed your family. Why? Because they don't have no napkins over there. They don't never had no tablecloths. People are trying to do the best that they can do. And if we deal with people right here on the level, I promise you can go to Walmart and get some crappy service. We don't never complain about that. You can go to Red Lobster and get some crappy service, and we don't complain about that. But you go to Mr. and Mrs. Smith's restaurant, let the salt shaker be a little bit empty, and we're going to complain. See, that's why I don't come over here. That's why we don't treat those folks at these billion-dollar companies the same way that we treat our fellow brothers and sisters here in the low-income communities. And that's why small businesses are dying. That's why the entrepreneurial spirit is passing away. So many of us have become comfortable and complacent at these jobs, being cogs in their wheel of their machines, and we have allowed our entrepreneurial spirit to die. I don't have to ask for ones up in the chat. I know there was somebody who sold candy at school when they were a little boy or a little girl. I know that there was somebody who was a little boy who cut grass, or like one of our hustles was going to the gas station and pumping people's gas for a couple of bucks. That's an entrepreneurial spirit. I'm about to get this money. I'm going to find a service and I'm going to provide it, and people are going to give me money for it. Or like one time, the guy didn't have any money and he cut my hair. I don't have no money, little brother, but I'm a barber and I can get you a fresh cut because I was out there looking shaggy. And we can do that. We absolutely have the ability to do that. But it starts with valuing ourselves, because we don't see value in ourselves when we see somebody who comes from the same background that we come from doing something exceptional. we can't fathom that. There are a lot of us who are like, who are you? A rapper blows up. There ain't a lot of rappers that blew up in the city that they're from. Most of these rappers claim a city, but that's not their city of origin. That's the city where they blew up. We just do not promote each other. We don't support each other, and we should. We 100% should. I will take fighting, for instance. There are a lot of local fighters that can hardly get anybody to buy their tickets. There are a lot of local fighters who can't get anybody to buy their t-shirts or buy their hats or whatever swag they're selling so that they can pay for their career until they start making big money. But as soon as one of these guys makes it to the UFC or they're fighting on HBO, as soon as you see them on ESPN, that's my boy. That's my boy. Oh, yeah, I used to play basketball with him. Oh, man, we grew up together. But I never saw you buy any tickets to his fight. I never even saw you share a post on Facebook that he posted about his fight coming up. It's 100% free to hit the like button when you see your man having a concert. When you see your man dropping a new CD or album or song. I'm sorry, I'm a little dated. They don't make CDs anymore, do they? When you see your man's album streaming. Let me tell you how super supportive I am. Even if I don't particularly like the song, I'm going to keep hitting the like button on my man's song. I'm going to keep listening to it. I'm going to listen to it 10 times. I'm going to put 10 views on his video. I'm going to put 10 views on his Spotify. That's what I do. Because that's free. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything to be supportive. It doesn't cost anything to get on a Facebook post and say, hey, my man has a barbecue stand over here. Y'all check him out Sunday. He'll be there Saturday and Sunday. Y'all go check him out after church. That's free. That's 100% in our power to do. But oh, some of us are haters. Some of us had that dream. You're not going to get your blessing until you become a blessing. That's how that works. That's exactly how that works. What's that word? Reciprocity. Getting back what you put out. You put out hateration. You put out negative vibes. What do you think is going to boomerang back into your life? When you see your man put his clothing label, when you see your man put his CD, when you see somebody put their service out there, graphic designer, website creator, is it web designer? I think that's what it is. Web designer. When you see that and you keep scrolling past Facebook without even putting a like on there, because what I've learned is when people put the like button on there, it makes that rotate and come up more often on news feeds. So when you see something that's getting a whole lot of likes, it pops up more often on people's news feed. There's no way in the world that you should know somebody who's an entrepreneur and they're making posts and they're promoting their stuff and you don't big up them with a like, just a thumbs up. You don't got to do like me and put the heart on there. I put a heart on everybody's stuff. That's just a way of showing support because I get it. We don't always just have money. You can't always just go buy a $25 t-shirt. You can't always just go out and spend money. What about energy? What about just saying some kind? I see my boy doing big things, man. God bless him. Hey, man, I saw you on Facebook the other day. Man. Big ups to you, man. Keep on going. You're going to blow. Even a kind word. Let me tell you, as an entrepreneur, it is difficult. There are all sorts of obstacles. Whatever the service that you provide, most entrepreneurs, most business owners will tell you that's the easy part. Finding vendors, advertisement, not having a storefront and doing it out of your house. People don't see the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, that goes into putting your t-shirt together in my instance, or building your website in my bedroom. We don't understand that. It is hard work. It is a lot of work. And then, not to mention taxes. Got to make sure your taxes and all that stuff is right. Because, baby, you better believe that Uncle Sam wants his piece. The added stress. Those of us who haven't built our businesses up far enough to leave our day jobs. So now I got 8, 10, 12 hours over here that I'm working for the man. And then I got to spend another 5 or 6 hours over here working on my dream. And somewhere in there, I got to figure out how to be a parent and a husband and a brother and a son. Always have to call your friends that you haven't heard from in a week or so, or you ignored their text or ignored their call. Say, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm a horrible friend. I saw you called last week. I love you. People don't realize the energy that goes into being a small business owner. And then they will turn around and criticize that small business owner. You have no idea the superhuman effort that man or woman is putting forth right here in our communities. Why do we want to continue to give our blood, sweat, and tears to Gucci, to Louis Vuitton? If you take the time to look out your door, you may live next door to a Louis Vuitton. He hasn't gotten the opportunity because nobody's buying his stuff. Because we're already going over here to buy these established millionaires merchandise. These established billionaires merchandise, because this means something. It ain't hot because this ain't Louis. This ain't Gucci. And that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. And it should be a social crime. It should be an indictable social crime. If you don't shop in the community, man, you got to get out of here. That's the way we should look at that. I have seen so many restaurants closing over these past 6 months during the pandemic. It's heartbreaking because I know what kind of effort goes into that. Watching your dream fold. Your blood, sweat, and tears, watching it crumble. I can only imagine what that feels like. Being a business owner one day and then going to the unemployment office looking for a job. The people in the community, it's our fault. When we pass up the mom and pop shop and go to McDonald's instead. Billions served. That's what the sign says up on top of McDonald's. Billions served. For the sake of arguments, let's say all those billions of people bought off the dollar menu. They still got billions of dollars. I don't care what anybody said. That's flexing. Billions served. That's flexing, man. And for some strange reason, we, the people of the low-income communities, act like we can identify with the Richie Poos. And we can't. I don't understand that. I don't understand why you don't want to see someone who lives right around you progressing and building our neighborhoods up. Do you know if we took that money and we poured that money into our neighborhoods, we'll be building the huge skyscrapers and stuff here in our communities. We'll be living in the high rises. We'll have the gated communities. But for some strange reason, we want to go work for the machine and then give the machine that money back. And that's odd. It's downright sick. Now, what I want to do right now for my listeners out there on Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube is scroll through the chat. Arshawn, what chat? What is this chat that you speak of? My brothers and sisters on Facebook Live tend to leave comments in the chat. So I want to scroll up, give a couple of shout outs, and check out, see if anybody left any comments. Do you guys got anything to say about this topic? I really want to hear from my small business owners and my entrepreneurs. Let's hear what these guys got to say. Shout out Demarius. What up, what? Shout out Janine Morrell. How you doing? Evertine Jackson, how are you? Jeremy Biles, what's good, good brother? All right. Kevin Palmer says, sometimes it's all about a company's advertising strategy and customer service. That is what determines whether a small business succeeds or fails. Now, Kevin, I can smoke a bag of that. I totally get it. I've been to some of these small restaurants and these small businesses, and I haven't gotten the greatest customer service. But I will tell you this, as a small business owner myself, after you've done all of the ordering and you've done all the prepping and you've done all the work, let me tell you, it takes an extreme amount of mental energy to remember to be polite. Polite, courteous, and kind, and wear a smile. It takes practice. Like Vanna White on Wheel of Fortune. I know that lady has practiced that smile. I mean, it's just plastered to her face. But it's difficult because we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes for this family business to work. And also, when we talk about the low-income communities, let's not forget about the fact that a lot of us haven't had the greatest education. A lot of us haven't had classes in etiquette and so on and so forth. So while I understand what you're saying about the customer service and things like that, sometimes we have to set that aside because these are societal norms that have been passed down to us by the dominant society, by the owners of the billion-dollar corporations. They decide and they define what's customer service and what's real, and you should have a smile on. A smile is part of your uniform. When I was a manager at McDonald's, they used to tell us that. A smile is a part of your uniform. Let's scroll up. Darius here, what's going on? Aaron Vincent, my guy. How you guys doing, man? But we're talking about Requiem for small businesses, which is death song for small businesses. Because I talked about it a little while ago, 43% of small businesses have gone belly up. And during the pandemic, they had the PPP, the payroll protection program. It was disgusting because a lot of the small businesses that actually needed the money didn't get it. These larger entities got millions of dollars. They got millions of dollars. It seems like there were some people at the low level on the scam side of the game that got the money, and then they skipped the legitimate business owners. Not all of them, never meaning all, but a lot of them, 43% got skipped, and then they went to the people who are already millionaires and gave them money. And we should be outraged by that. But so many of us are dumb to the fact because we're not concerned about the people who live next door to us or down the street from us or across the street from us. Why? Because we have not been taught to place value on the people in our communities. We've been taught to place value in what the Richie Poos say is valuable. And that's a grave miscarriage of socialization. We've been conditioned to believe that if we drive a Cadillac, I think the car of choice now is a Charger. We drive a Cadillac, we wear Gucci, we wear Prada, Louis Vuitton, we can buy Jordans, Air Maxes, that these are symbols of success. And it appears that the people from the low-income communities, we're more engineered to looking successful than actually working to be successful. And when we see someone who is actually doing that, working to be successful, there's a part of our psychology that hates them. I believe that's why my friend's club doesn't do as well as it should. He's not starving. He's not messed up. But he should have 100% of the club goers in that city in that club, because it's a nice place. It's a nice establishment. And for someone who saw him start where he started to be where he is now, I say kudos. Especially, you know what? Right here on the Angry Nerd Podcast, myself, Arshawn Wade, I would like to say I'm sorry for the trouble that I've caused in the past, because I contributed to black folks don't know how to act. And that's why we don't go to this club, we go to this club. So I want to say that I sincerely apologize for being a part of the problem. And I want to tell you that I am putting 100% of my energy into being a part of the solution. Now, before I get out of here tonight, I hope you guys got something from that. I hope that I have stirred some juices in your head to where we think differently about small businesses, to where we start to place value on the people who live in our communities with their talent, with their skills, with their services. Now, this Saturday at 2 p.m., the men's mental health group is getting together at my house. And because I have a little bit of common sense, I'm not going to give my address out on Facebook Live. But if you are interested in coming, then hit me up on my inbox or hit up Dylan Brackley. The guys from Savage Hippie, we're getting together. It's going to be a good time. We're just going to hang out. We're going to fellowship, if I can use a church term like fellowship. I'm not going to talk church. Don't worry. But anyways, this Saturday at 2 p.m., Saturday, September 26th, we're going to have a men's meeting at my house. Inbox me if you want to be here. Going to have some refreshments. We're going to hang out and just enjoy each other. And we're going to communicate wherever the conversation takes us. It's going to take us. Me and Dylan always have wild conversations that bunny trail off into wherever. Just like Jim McDonough, I could talk to those guys about anything. And the conversation will go in some strange places. But if you're a man who's just interested in hanging out with some guys this weekend, I invite you out. Like I said, inbox me. Let me know what's up, man. Hey, go over to Savage Hippie, buy some stuff. We got some local guys who are doing big things. We got a collaboration coming down the pipe where we're going to do magnificent things on the apparel side of the game. So custom tees by Arshawn, Savage Hippie. We're just guys who have a vision, and we're linking up and we're getting it together. I want to send a all points bulletin to anybody who does web design. I'm looking for somebody to create the Custom Tees website, and I don't want something shabby, so I want somebody who's really good, and we'll talk about monies and all that good stuff. So inbox me totally. If you guys know somebody, drop their name in the comments. Let me know what's up, man, so that we can take this thing to the next level. If you know any engineers, if you know any sound guys, please give me a inbox. If you know me, give me a call, whatever it is, man, because we're trying to take this thing to the next level. And it's about people from the low-income communities networking with other people in the low-income communities. That's what we have to do. We have to pool our resources. We have to pool our services. We have to pool our goods. That's exactly how a community forms. That's how it shapes, because we spend with each other. We give time and energy and ideas to each other. That's the kind of effort that it takes. And we have to start valuing each other. If you know Jim McDonough, if you know Dylan Brackley, David Pagan, anybody from the Savage Hippie camp, and you ain't wearing a Savage Hippie shirt or a Savage Hippie hat, shame on you. That's the bull job that I'm talking about. If you know me, and you ain't rocking a custom Arshawn joint, shame on you. That's a part of the problem. If you have a local rapper in your city that's making some noise, singing, rapping, anything, and you're not bumping his stuff, shame on you. You're part of the problem. Deal with the talent, the services, and the goods right in your communities. Let's do this. Let's really start linking up and really start building each other up. The next time somebody say, man, that's a hot shirt you got on, where'd you get that? Tell them, oh, my homeboy makes these. The next time you're rocking a pair of sneakers and they say, I ain't never seen those before. Man, there's a dude in my neighborhood. He makes shoes. That's the only way that we're going to be able to transcend the mental retardation that has been done to us by the conditioning of the dominant societies. My name is Arshawn Wade, aka the Angry Nerd. Peace.